Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Talks. I hope you're doing wonderful. Welcome back to YouTube. Number one, we love having you here. We go live at 10 o'clock Central every single day. The reason we do that is on the East Coast, that's 11 o'clock. That's normally lunchtime for tradespeople. Then, no matter what time zone you're in, you can jump in during lunch and see what we talked about this day. Now, we're put together a variety show where we talk about everything from national news to websites to
Where's the
building your bottom
work?
line.
Yeah, new
Where's the work?
construction, old construction, service work. And we try to cover every topic in the trades that we possibly can fit in. And if we don't cover it, throw it into the comments because we'd love to talk about it, I assure you.
Absolutely. So remember too, this video is sponsored by Leak Pro. Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection system for plumbers. It's the best equipment out there for plumbers that I was able to find. And I looked and bought many different ones. So what I want to tell you is, if you want to grow as a plumber or you want to grow your bottom line, your revenue as a plumbing company owner, trust me, check into Leak Pro, www.leak-pro.com, and check out the training. Because if you're not trained, your employees aren't trained, you're not sure how to use that equipment to your very best. But we teach you how to use the leak detection equipment. We also teach you how to find and isolate leaks on sewer lines, which a lot of people, it blows their mind that we teach them the way we do.
It's definitely an outside of the box type of thinking.
But it works.
It works
It
better than
works.
anything I've seen. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot of extras to be able to do that. It's kind of nice.
Okay, so we got a new president yesterday.
We do?
Stepped into the office yesterday. So in the national news, we're going to talk about the skilled trades advocacy getting a little support from Congress.
That's it. A bipartisan group in Congress has introduced Skilled Trade Empowerment Act. And this is aimed to expand training programs and remove barriers to entry for tradespeople. I think this is huge. It's definitely a step in the right direction, making it easier for people to get in. You know, something that we talk about a lot on your channel and things is how many hours a plumbing license takes here in Texas. Knowledge is too easy and flows too fast now for us compared to what it was 20 years ago whenever I was first getting in the trade. Everything's at our fingertips.
And almost 50 years ago when I was getting in the trade.
Exactly. Like,
I mean,
even
it's
from
45
yours
years
to
ago.
mine, we could have shaved some hours off of the requirement, I think.
And we didn't. We actually added hours.
We added. That's it. So
But learning's different now.
it is. Learning's a whole lot different. There's so many automations. It's more simplified than it used to be. You had to turn pages and read in this book.
Yeah, books are these things. No, never mind. It's full of papers. We'll explain it one day.
Yeah,
They were in a library. That's a whole nother video. It's this brick building. It was just full of them.
that's it. But now everything's quick. It's simple. There's videos on pretty much everything now. Back whenever I started, there wasn't any videos you could look up on how to do something. That was researched in a book to figure that out. Guys, knowledge flows like a fire hose now instead of a straw. So it's coming so fast that you can gain so many things. Now, that will make you miss some things too. So I do understand that you do need some hours still, but I think that we can actually kind of cut down some of these requirements.
Hey, Colton, can you come see me and help me with my item here?
And
Oh, maybe Randy
there's
knows.
increased funding for trade schools and apprenticeship programs.
And that's huge because the trade schools, which we've done stuff with Texas State Technical College, PHCC does a lot of cool stuff. So there's always something there that's good. But also the apprenticeship programs. You've got PHCC's got an apprenticeship training program. The unions have programs. Both of these are approved through the DOL, the Department of Labor. So the cool thing about that is if you go through one of those programs for 4 years and get your journeyman, you've only got to wait another year to get your master's license. So you could really start your own business in 5 years. And then there's tax incentives for businesses hiring apprentices. And to me, that's a big deal. Most businesses don't want to hire somebody green because they're like, look, you're just a loss of money for me. But here's the thing. If you're going to invest in them, the government's going to invest in you, and that's huge.
It is like, and something that crossed my mind this morning whenever I was going over this and it hit my head, I was like, if you're going to invest in having the top people work at your business, you're going to pay the most so that you get the top quality people out there in your area. Why are you not going to bring apprentices in for those top guys to teach? Because guess what they're going to learn? The top quality mindset. And that's what you want more of in the trade. So it's a win-win for everybody.
You know, and look, it's been said many times in many ways. I've read it in books before. You can invest in your people and hope they don't leave, or you cannot invest with them and they'll stay with you forever. Invest in people. Let them know, look, I care enough about you. I want to make you a better tradesman. So you do stuff like this, and this is a good way to do it. You've got an apprentice, invest in his education, let him learn. We talked about Leak Pro. I used to teach apprentices how to do the leak detection. They could go out on the job. They're not interfering with the water lines. They're not doing anything. They're using our tool, sticking it on the meter, sticking it on the valve, walking in the house, putting it on angle stops. They're not doing anything to the plumbing system, but listening to it. And I could train them to do it really, really well. Now, there's going to be a great impact on tradespeople through this too, because there's going to be easier access to training and job opportunities. Think about it. If the government's going to pay for your apprentice and you're a company owner, aren't you going to go ahead and say, look, I could probably hire 3 or 4 apprentices? You better.
Yes. And then like going through those schools, like you were saying, it shortens the time that you need to get your master's or something because these are accredited programs. The government's is what it sounds like is they're going to start accrediting more of these locations that are doing the right things to make this easier for everybody. Because I feel like this is something that I commonly get asked, you know, is how do I really get started? And this is coming from a lot of people that are kind of in a more rural area. So I understand it's not city life, kind of like I live here. So there's not as many companies. Yeah. It's a little harder, but sometimes you do have to relocate to set yourself up for that great opportunity so you can come back to your local space and create your own business and hire your own guys. So it's things to keep in mind and definitely keep that mindset open for.
And it's going to make it good for everybody. So bottom line, managing supply chain delays without losing clients.
Yes.
Now, we talked about this, about the freezes and the problems and how to be prepared for it, but you've come up with some pretty good information.
Yeah, well, like one of the biggest ones that I learned in estimating was whenever we were bidding some projects, there was one piece of equipment, you couldn't get it for 14 months.
And the job's supposed to be complete in 10.
That's right. The job's supposed to be done already.
I've seen it.
But the most important thing is communication. If you make that clear up front, like whenever we bid jobs that were like that, it's like, look, we just want you to know right now, though, in big, bold letters, the equipment will not be able to hit the job until this date. And I at least need a week to get it going, like bare minimum working a lot of hours. So, but if you're clear on that up front and that building a realistic schedule around it, the customer knows up front, that helps and goes a long way for sure.
And the good thing about it, build relationships with multiple vendors, multiple supply houses. I used to buy all my materials from Ferguson, but you know what? I still dealt with Apex down the street. I still dealt with Morsco. So I knew that I had people that I could reach out and talk to if I needed to. And it's really funny, Plano Plumbing Supply.
Yeah.
A smaller plumbing supply, but a great company. And I've always had great relationships with them. It was really funny. You know, when I brought people in on Fridays and took them out to dinners, I was over at Texas one night. And I saw a guy when I got there, Ronnie Williams, him and his dad own Plano Plumbing Supply.
Okay.
And we stood there and talked a little bit. I went over and took whoever it was that came into town, and we sat down for dinner. And I pull out my credit card. Waitress walks up, says, no, your dinner was taken care of. Now, this is a company that was not the biggest company. It wasn't my priority purchase company. But when I went in, man, I always talked to them, always said hello to everybody, treated everybody wonderful. The guy bought us like a $200 dinner.
Yep.
And it's like, those are the kind of relationships. So special shout out to Ronnie Williams at Plano Plumbing Supply.
Man, yeah, like I had some of my vendors, sometimes you can offer some different options. And sometimes the smaller suppliers have different relationships than these big suppliers. And sometimes they can get you a really good deal or sneak you in a few months earlier because, well, they've got a friend that works there and they've really built a good relationship. Some of these bigger ones, you can't quite build as good of a relationship everywhere.
And another good thing about it is a lot of these smaller supply houses, they have relations with a lot of other supply houses where they can say, hey, we don't have it, but you know what? I found one for you. And that's happened. It's like, wait, then when you come back to that GC and you're like, hey, that product that's 10 months out, we found one.
Yeah.
And we've already bought it. So you can buy it from us or we'll work something out.
Well, I was going to say, in a lot of those types of vendors and things, you know, they'll stockpile some material, guys. I've had vendors, they knew prices were about to jack up. They ordered as much as they could possibly afford at the time because they knew everybody in town would come to them because they bought it at the lowest price. So they were going to be able to offer the lowest price to anybody. And guess what? Business was booming for them for a little bit. Try to be ahead of these things or have your vendors being ahead of these things. That can really help you out in a pickle.
And Lori McNeil, branding strategist. I mean, man, this lady's a guru. Communication is huge for setting expectations. Clear communication reduces and or eliminates misunderstandings. And it's like Randy said, when you find out, hey, this piece is 12 months out, your job is due in 10 months. You need to pick somebody to order that part right now, if nothing else, to start making these things happen. And that is probably the most important thing in managing the issues, because transparency with your client lets them know you're looking out for them. And when you're having these conversations and saying, hey, look, I just want to be upfront and honest with you. We've checked into this and it's way out. So that lets them know if they really want it, they need to go that way. Now, next we're going to talk about best safety practices. And we're talking about ladders. And I told this story a few weeks ago, but literally I remember being on a job and I'm coming down the ladder and there was conduit sticking up on the floor right behind where I was at. But I mean, I had to be there. I had a hanger going up. Probably could have repositioned my ladder, could have done some stuff. But I stepped down and I stepped on this piece of conduit. And when I did, completely lost my balance and fell directly backwards. And when I did, I landed on a piece of conduit that came up right between my legs. It literally ripped my jeans right through the crotch from can to can't. And I'm sitting here looking at this piece of conduit and I'm thinking, is there blood on it? And I'm looking because I'm like in complete shock. And I'm looking at it. It didn't scratch my underwear. It didn't scratch me. But guys, that was close to the family jewels being completely gone.
Yep. Right
there on a job site. So let's talk about ladder safety, because that's one of the big, probably top 5 issues on safety.
It is. Ladders are huge. You know, like, I'm a big guy. I've been on some really tall extension ladders. Okay. You talk about being nervous. That is the one spot I am the most nervous about everything. But that's also when safety is top. 3 points of contact all the time, no matter what. I don't care.
Somebody holding onto the ladder.
Somebody holding it. It's at the right pitch, 4-to-1 ratio. Stand, let it touch your toes, reach out. The ladder should be in your hands. That's going to be really close to your 4-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, if it's way too close, you're way too steep. If it's too far out, you're kind of crawling up it.
Yep.
I remember going up a 38 or 40-foot extension ladder one time. Those will scare you.
Yes.
There was nobody there with me. And I literally set the ladder up, backed my Blazer, my Chevy Blazer, back up to it. And I'm watching it in the mirror until I feel it touch it. And I get back here and touch it to make sure it won't move. I wanted that ladder to be held.
That's it.
And it's like, this is dangerous. So I want this done right. And it's not the best way to do it, but using the correct ladder type, which that was the only thing available, that's what I needed. I needed to be that high. Mm-hmm. But without having somebody there to help me, I went around and found another way to secure that ladder. And I promise that the Blazer put it in a position that it was being held better than any man could have ever held it.
Yeah, I've been on some jobs where you're the first guy up on this super elevated roof and you got to go up an extension ladder to tie it off. And it's like, hey, I need 2 apprentices to hold my ladder while I do this. Why? I'm the first man up. Okay, we don't know what's going to go on. I need to get up there
I'm going to be
safely.
the one that checks
I want
it
to
out.
make sure
Yes.
that I'm good. But a big, huge one that a lot of people do: get the right size ladder. Just like you said, don't be on the top 2 rungs of a normal A-frame ladder, guys. Don't. Get the next size up. It's not a big deal. I know most of you have it sitting in the truck. It's there. But, oh, this 6-foot ladder is just so much easier to carry around. Carry the 8. I was the guy that had a big table. I had 14 footers, 12 footers, 10 footers, 8 footers, and 6 footers. I kept them all because every spot in the mechanical room is a different
Oh, yeah.
elevation. So you needed them all in that room. Grab the right ladder because that's huge and one of the most dangerous things that you can deal with.
And take the time to position them properly. Like I said, I probably should have looked when I set that ladder up and thought, you know what, there's conduit here. Number one, make a mental note so when I come down, I don't step on the conduit, fall down, and do a vasectomy right there on the job site. But the big thing about it too is, and I've done it, so I'm telling you, I know this. I was on top of a 12-foot ladder drilling holes in a bank for a sign and leaned out a little too far. And all of a sudden, the ladder goes one way, I go another. And I remember I hit on my heels and my forearms. Now, luckily, my forearms, not my elbows. But by the time, and I could not walk. I mean, literally, my heels, I could feel them swelling up in my boots. And I worked for a little bitty mom and pop sign company. And they're like, look, don't go to the hospital, don't go to the doctor. Just, go home and put ice on it and let's see what happened. I sat home in ice for like 4 days because my heels got about as big as a grapefruit and never went and had them checked or anything like that. I should have gone in for x-rays because I'm telling you, it was not pretty and it's not a good thing to do. HVAC Guide for Homeowners says good relationships with my supplier was one of the reasons our company exploded in growth once I found that supplier. Man, you get the right vendors, everything in the world for you.
Yeah. And then that overreaching, if you're not aware, it's the belt buckle rule, guys. If you are leaning out and your belt buckle passes the edge of that ladder, get down, move that ladder over, reposition. Very important.
And that doesn't mean twist your belt around to where the buckle's on the side where you can lean out a little further. That just means you're going to hit the ground a little bit quicker.
That's it.
Now let's talk about new construction. I loved studying for my lead AP exam because it was the roof. It's the way the building is positioned, but it was also windows and glazing and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now you found some neat information on some smart windows.
Dude, windows, they've come a long way, but they're going even further.
We're almost to the Jetson level,
Like,
y'all.
that's it. We all will never reach Jetsons. It's coming,
we're getting
guys.
there.
We're gonna blow past the Jetsons. I'm pretty sure.
Well, and you say that. Remember, they've got the drones now that you can buy that you can fly in, you can ride it.
Yep.
So
It's coming. Exactly. That's it. But there's smart windows. They automatically tint based on the sunlight, how much sunlight's coming through, and what you have it set at.
and I want to know how good they are because I've
Like-
got sunglasses that are supposed to do
Hey.
that and they don't work right.
When I found this, I was kind of going, "Ooh, next house upgrade,
I know,
maybe."
I know, I like that.
Because like tinting windows for privacy, for anything, like that's huge. And being able to control it, like, why would you not want to do that?
And that saves you money too because now you're not as reliant on your HVAC system. Look, I keep my blinds closed and I keep them tilted so the sun doesn't penetrate. I don't angle them up, I angle them down. That way the sun bounces back out. But I do that so I don't have to run the AC as much during the summer. Now in the winter, I'll open them up, I'll angle them down, I'll let the sun come in because I want that solar heat, that solar energy to kind of warm it up a little bit. And that's amazing. But it's more comfortable.
100%. 100%. It's going to help your HVAC system, your AC, or your heat keep up with what's going on and run less. And we all know whenever that's running less, it's saving us all money. That's a great thing. But like these it's going to change the install.
Oh yeah,
Windows haven't needed
electricity.
internet connection or
Wi-Fi,
electricity. Like this is going to open a whole new branch of installers because you're going to either have to communicate well with multiple trades Or like we always talk about,
Cross training.
cross training. Have the person that knows how to do it all so that they can hook the power to it. So if you're going to go out and retrofit an old house with these smart windows, you can do it all. Every bit of it, from the power to the Wi-Fi, everything that it's going to need to be smart, you're going to have it in your kit.
And, we talk about BIM and building automation and things. And look, guys, if you're not studying smart homes, if you're not trying to figure out how do you be the go-to contractor in your area that understands smart homes better than anybody else, and I can't figure it out. I'm telling you, but I don't worry about it. I've got a washer and dryer that I should be able to hook up to my Wi-Fi, and I can't get it to work. And I'm like, man, I'm done. I'm giving up on it. And I probably shouldn't do that. But here's the thing. Train your people or train yourself and say, look, I'm going to be the guy that understands. Now I can do it on like a Rinnai tankless water heater, but for some reason my Samsung equipment does not like me. And I know I'm not even going to go there.
You're going to have to be the guy that will call the manufacturer.
Oh my God, you got to call
to
us
walk
for
you
help?
through some things. Well, usually the first guy that actually figures it out, that's how he figures it out. Hate to tell you that, but that's usually the trick.
Man. Okay, look, you're going to get good at this by focusing on lifelong learning. And we talk about that every day. Every morning, get up, study your niche. I mean, I got to tell you, you've been getting up and studying these every morning, putting all this together. You've learned things that you didn't even know about.
I have, like, smart windows, guys. I know that smart things are coming in every trade. Windows was not at the top of my mind for sure. Everything is becoming smart. We talk about smart neighborhoods, smart cities, smart homes. Everything's getting smart. It's only going to make us all smarter too, but we are going to have to learn some new things to be able to install all these smart products.
So let's talk about the mindset growth then, because to me, that's what it's all about. There's books. Look, when I hired my first coach, it was Michael Gerber. He wrote the E-Myth books. Not only did I read the book, and it blew my mind. It opened my mind about things about running a business and different ways to look at it and different ways to build your SOPs and just a lot of different things. But if I was not open-minded, if I'm like, you know what, this is stupid, this would never work in plumbing, but there's a lot of people that do that. And I used to be that guy. Now, the one thing that I will stick with you on, they used to tell me, Roger, you need to build a calendar every day. Yeah, I'm a plumber. We put out fires. You tell a fire department, y'all got to build a calendar and you can only leave when it's in your calendar. It don't work. The trades are the same way, especially in the service. So my whole thing is, how do you embrace change in the trades? Because there's new tools, materials, equipment, technology every day. We're going to trade shows here next month.
That's it. Like, this makes me always think you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Woof, woof.
Guys, I disagree.
Yeah,
I'm working with an old dog and
me.
we're teaching him new tricks all the time.
But look at me too, what I'm doing these days.
I'm not doing to
plumbing
learn
anymore.
You are embracing the changes. Social media was not a thing in trades 10 years ago.
And look, it wasn't a thing for me growing up. I didn't grow up with one of these in my hand.
That's it.
And I remember when I walked into the conference where I learned about YouTube, I went to learn Facebook because I thought that's what social media is.
That's it. But by embracing the changes, it's led to be able to do the things you do today. Don't be scared of change. I know we're human beings. We hate change. I'm that way. I was a super introvert, hermit. Don't talk to me. Don't hit me up on social media because I'm never there. Don't be scared of change. You may end up on YouTube at a live stream every day. You just never know where the road is going to take you.
Don't do anything like that. It's a lot of work. Yeah, but the cool thing is, this is what leads to long-term success. Now, I teach people how to get in the trades. I teach them how to become better tradesmen, how to become foremen, superintendents, how to make more money, how to start their own businesses, and then how to use networking and social media to grow their businesses. But everybody who comes into these courses has to be open to change their mind, because they've either been told, look, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything. You know what? Tradespeople make great money. And normally they make more money than their counterparts who went to college, unless they went to be a doctor, a surgeon, a high-end attorney, something like that. Most tradespeople make more money. But you've got to be open to learn. And the thing that I've started realizing is the more that I learn, the more successful I become. Look, guys, the last 2 weeks was studying YouTube and studying marketing. Does that affect what we do every day?
It does.
Does it affect every business on here every day?
Yep.
Guys, those are the kind of things that you need to be learning. It can literally change your life. And then learn to network with peers. One of our favorite things about going to trade shows isn't the vendors that we get to meet. It's the people we hang out with and go to happy hour with and just sit down at the bar and say, man, so how's it going for you? And it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. It's where you see real tradespeople like that. That's one of my favorite. I'm not on a job site every day anymore. I'm not sitting there breaking with the concrete guys, the electricians, the duct guys. I'm not doing that every day. This is what I get to do every day. This is how I get to talk to all my trades buddies every day.
Each and every day.
And go to the trade shows, rub elbows, get noticed, talk to some people, explain some different things. I'm going to head out to promote this. Let everybody know about the trade talks, that we're here. We want to talk trades every day with you. Come here, hang out, throw us a comment. We will discuss it.
He may have to wear a shirt that says Roger on it because we got the Trade Talk shirts too. We need to remember that.
That crossed my mind already this morning.
There you
I'm going
go.
to have to get some Link Pros with trade talks on the back.
There you go.
It's coming, I'm sure.
There you go. Okay, and the best way to embrace it in a fast-moving industry, guys, go to the conferences, get online, study. You've got to be open-minded. You've got to be able to say, look, I'm going to keep learning. I've probably learned more in the last, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years than I did in the 35, 40 years before it.
Yep.
Because I'm continuously learning. As soon as I brought in a new book earlier about courses, and it's like I heard the guy speak on the cruise ship the other day, ordered it, how to build courses. I want to see, are we doing things right? Could we do things better?
Yeah.
What can we do to make it all better? But focus on being a lifelong learner. It can really help you out. Tell us a little bit about Leak Pro since you're talking about your shirt.
Well, I was going to say, and don't be scared of new tools. You know,
Yeah.
Leak Pro, I make old tools, but we're constantly making them better. We're enhancing them, adding new parts, beefing things up that need to be done. We build some of the most simple to use leak detection on the market. It's all acoustical. It's all sound based. You're going to go through, you're going to listen to valves, listen to the meter, listen to any pipe that you can put your device on. There's also a probing rod to reach down into the ground to where some of the pipes are that you can't just see and touch. But if you want to check us out, go to www.leak-pro.com. I also do an in-person training here in Wiley, Texas. If you want, give me a call at 1-8888-LEAK-PRO, and we can discuss everything that we do here, from the line locating to the leak locating to the pinpointing that, sewer isolation testing, marketing for your leak detection business or your plumbing business. Any business you've got, give us a call. Love to talk to you.
It works. Lori says, embracing change and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone is what you need to do to achieve successful results. And guys, yeah, get outside of your comfort zone. That is hard to do. Now we're going to talk about laws and licenses, understanding permit requirements for solar projects. Now this, did I miss one?
Yep.
Did I
I mean,
really?
29.
Already? Okay, let's jump back to all trades. Thank you, Colton, for not listening to me. All trades, building resilience against labor shortages. Now, guys, this is one that we're going to be talking about for the next 5 years, probably longer, because we're not recruiting enough people into the trades. I was on Dr. Phil last year.
Yep.
Dr. Phil, the day I was on there, he said, look, there's 1 million unfilled trades jobs in the United States right now. I said, you've been listening to me, ain't you? He says, but they've done their research. In the next 3 to 4 years, it's going to be 4 or 5 million unfilled trades jobs.
Yep.
Guys, it's tough. So labor shortages continue to affect the trades, but businesses can adopt strategies to help mitigate the impact. Number one, the money coming into the apprentice training programs now.
Yes.
Hiring apprentices and getting government support for it. That's going to be huge. But Randy, you've come up with a few different things people can do also.
Well, like that apprenticeship you were just talking about, if you want your company to not worry about these labor shortages, get involved in all of this now. It is the time to do it so that you can offer those competitive wages and benefits to attract that top talent to teach these apprentices that are coming in, because they're going to want to learn from the best. If they're anything like me, they're going to want to work with that old man on the job because he's been doing it longer than everybody else. Get some of these top guys that are the best, because that's going to attract people wanting to come and learn from them. If you do that, when they learn from those guys and they move up, they're not going to want to go anywhere. They're going to want to stay with you so they can train more people. That's how your business will avoid a labor shortage. So you really want to develop those apprenticeship programs now if you don't have any, and build a pipeline of skilled workers. That's the best way to build your own labor pool in your business. If you're open shop, if you're union shop, it doesn't matter. A lot of these union guys, guess what? They'll stay at the same company forever if you'll let them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
And you treat them right. So it doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. You can do this wherever you're at.
And one thing that I'll throw in there is invest in your employees, invest in training your employees. Literally, I'm putting a proposal right now together for an insulation company up in Milwaukee that he's like, look, I got 5 foremen and I want to teach them to get better, because every time I hire one new person, my company can make another $200,000 a year. He said, so I want to train these foremen to not just be able to hire better people, but to help them keep the employees that we have. And he's like, look, I'm investing in my employees. I want to invest in their education. And it starts with my foreman. But build a culture at your company where people know that they can come in, they can learn, they can grow, they can get better. And when you do stuff like that, you're not going to have a labor shortage. You're going to have people that every time they walk in a supply house, people say, hey, I see the thing. Is Leak Pro a good company to work for? You're like, dude, I wouldn't leave.
Yep.
And I've seen people try to hire people away from companies. They'll show up at the supply house, say, hey, look, you're buying a water heater. You any good at them? Yeah, I'm real good. Well, good. I need a plumber. You want to come to work for me? It's like, nope.
Yep.
Like, well, what do you mean? No, we didn't even talk about anything. We don't need to. I'm happy where I'm at. I've got a company that invests in me. I've got a company that wants to train me to be the best person in the world. And man, when you've got people with that attitude, they're not going anywhere. So, Randy, what are some other great ways to address the labor shortages in the trades?
So you want to use technology to automate any repetitive task that you have. You know, we're always talking about CRMs now.
Yep.
Because while you're out running calls, doing all that, you don't want to answer the phone. You don't have time all the time. Sometimes you're in the middle of something. Especially if you're a small shop, you're a one-man show.
You're doing it all.
You're doing it all, so you can't do it. Get some things to help you automate anything that you can in the business to help buy your time back is how I feel I'm doing with doing a lot of these automations. I'm buying my time back. I'm freeing some of my time up to do other things that I need to be focused on. Creating these automations are going to help you handle the things that are simple tasks. Whenever it gets to a certain level, you can build it in that they've got to talk to you at that point.
Yeah.
And you get to finalize everything just like you already do. But creating those automated things, it's going to be a huge thing. And that's going to help cover these labor shortages, because you're not going to need more people to do these little simple tasks.
I'll tell you what, and automation is set up nowadays where you can literally set up bots. And a lot of people are like, look, I don't want to talk to a bot. Yeah, but that bot can pre-qualify your customer, your buyer. But it can also, and believe it or not, it can reply in your tone of voice where it sounds like it's you texting them back. And I've seen it, so I know how good it is. But it can also elevate it to where it's like, when the customer's like, look, I really want to freaking talk to someone, it'll send you a message, say, hey, you have a customer that's getting agitated. Would you like to jump on a call with them? And then it just shows you the message. You hit send. It's like, hey, this is Roger. Wait, what are you upset about? I thought we were talking about this. Then they're like, oh, that was you. Yeah, it was me. What can I do for you? And man, it's good. So you want to make sure that you can automate anything you can. And we kind of talk about go high level at this point, because we have a software and automation process that's amazing. And I don't have the new link. I know Colton can find it somewhere and probably put it in there. Amber sent it to me, and it actually looks pretty daggum good. And we're doing things to help people grow their businesses. So you might want to check it out. You can just literally go check out High Level at www.gohighlevel.com/Roger Wakefield. It's $97 a month, and it'll change your business. All right. Laws and licenses, understanding permit requirements for solar projects.
Yes, solar's
Whole new
getting
world.
big. You know, like this is the new thing and the new space. It's created a huge space for new tradespeople coming in.
But the permits are a trip.
There's so many parts to it. You know, if I want solar on my home, well, we need to look at how much weight can my roof hold extra.
Engineering report.
What kind of seals do I need for all the roof penetrations?
Engineering report.
You know, like there's so many parts and pieces to doing it. It's not just throwing solar panels up and running a wire to it and you're good. There's battery banks. There's different things in different parts. So you're going to have different permits, or like we've been talking about, multi permits. Has multi trades in that one. And then, you know, some of the things to think about is you're going to have to check the specific local codes regarding solar panel placement and the wiring. Some different places may require it to be wired different depending on where you're at. I don't know a whole lot about solar. I'm not a solar installer, but I've ran some piping to cool solar panels and things like that. It opens so many doors now. Like everything, it's just all changing. And, you know, you want to submit detailed site plans and load calculations to expedite that approval. If you actually go through and check everything first and send that in to get these permits approved, the more homework you do on the front end, the quicker it is getting it back.
You know, and one thing that I do know about solar, because I live in an HOA, homeowners association. And, you know, it used to be in their charters or rules or whatever, you weren't allowed to do anything on your roof, anything like that. They didn't want any of this. Yeah, well, the federal government says, look, if they're using solar energy, you can't stop them. And I live right across the street from the clubhouse on the golf course. I've been telling solar companies from here for years, I got the best house in the world to install them on, because I have people walk across the street all the time and ask me, hey, who painted your fence? Who does your flower beds? Who does this? Who does this? So neat stuff. But you've got to stay up to date on state incentives and rebates that may require even additional permits, or additional paperwork. And if you're the solar guy, if you're pouring the concrete, do you need to get a permit for that? Because that's going to be its own inspection. It's not like the wiring inspection. So you've got to be able to look at this and understand. But Randy, what are some of the biggest challenges in obtaining the solar permits?
I'd say the variability in requirements between jurisdictions. Just like I was saying a minute ago, you're going to have to actually research that local area and what they require, because it could be different than 2 blocks over, because, like you're saying, you live across the
Mine
street.
can be different across the street, because across the street's one city and I'm in another.
That's it. I was going to say it's 2 cities. So you would have to check, okay, well, what does your city require versus what the clubhouse's city requires? It could be completely different, guys. And that's just opposite sides of the street. But it is technically another city. It's a different jurisdiction and a different set of codes that have to be met. So do your research for any area that you're installing in, especially with solar.
Now, we're going to talk about business training now. And this is one of my favorites, because we're going to talk about the power of online reviews. And no matter where I'm speaking, I've spoken at Digimarcon, I've spoken at Vid Summit, I speak at all kinds of different places. But I want to tell you this, whenever I'm talking to entrepreneurs, whenever I'm talking to tradespeople, I always talk about online reviews, because guys, really, it's easy to get. And that is one of the most powerful things that there is. One thing, when it came time for me to sell Texas Green Plumbing, one of the first things they do, they go to look at your Google business profile and they say, hey, you know what? You're getting 4.9 stars.
Yep.
Absolutely. And everybody doesn't do that, because I've had people come up to me and say, hey, man, look, I got a question. How do you get rid of the bad stars? Or how do you get rid of the negative reviews? I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, how do you make them go away? I said, I don't know. And they said, well, you don't have any. How'd you make yours go away? I said, well, I don't get any. And they're like, well, what do you mean you don't get any? It's like, man, I walk in with a customer service attitude from the very beginning. And when it comes to online reviews, that's one of the biggest things you can do. When you show up and go through your credibility statement and all that, you tell them up front, hey, just want you to know, Mr. Henry, before I finish today, I'm going to ask you for a 5-star review. Yeah. So all along the process, I'm going to give you 5-star service. And if I don't, please let me know. Please say, hey, look, I don't think this is 5-star service right here. And let me look and see what issue it is. Because when we're all done, I'm going to ask you to give me a 5-star review. Because my company, that's how they grow. That's how they do good. And me as an employee, I'm recognized for every one that I get. But you tell them up front, and then you make sure along the way you're giving them 5-star service.
And then I'll give y'all a quick insight there with just to let you know, his guys would come in with shoe covers. They would roll out carpets.
Oh, no, that's not a shoe cover. That's a floor saver.
Floor saver.
A shoe cover is
You're
for you
correct.
to take care of your shoe. A floor saver is for me to take care of your floor. Big difference.
Looky there.
It's mindset. That's exactly what it is.
Looky there. Right there, just in that. That's how you present a 5-star service.
Amen.
Okay? So you're going to have to create that mindset at your company that every guy you've got enters that way. They did that. I've seen the carpets they roll out, the floor savers, everything that they do. They go above and beyond to keep your space perfectly clean. That little bit of extra of what that person's doing to protect your home as the customer makes it easy to give that 5-star review in my mind.
I remember, I love this. It's too bad the like button doesn't have a 5-star review. You got to love that. Brother, thank you so much. I do. I appreciate it. You know, you can go to Google, search Roger Wakefield, find my Google business profile, and give me a 5-star review there. That'd be amazing. That's pretty cool, though. I like that. But guys, look, when I went to sell my company and they looked at that, by the time we were negotiating, they're like, look, you're what we're looking for. Yeah. We want a company that does things right. We want a company that takes care of their customers. And this became big in our negotiations, y'all. You want to make sure that that's the way you build your company. You want to and you got to do this from the beginning. You can't wait till, okay, you've got 2.5 stars from 50 different reviews. Yep. And then you're going to talk to the plumber and say, look, guys, let's go ahead and fix this. This is going to help. Yep. If you get 2.5 stars, you're being found on page 5. Nobody wants you.
Well, another huge one is when you do get some really good reviews. Like some of my customers at Leak Pro, I blow their minds whenever I kind of tell them what I have going on or where I'm at in this world and still providing the best service I possibly can. They're just like, wait, what? Like you're there, and you're still doing this? Oh my God. Like I would not be dealing with that if I was you. And it's like, I'm here. This is the business I like to run. And I want my customers to have the best service that I can give them. And that's what I move heaven and earth for. I feel like I do it, whatever it takes. But highlight some of those great reviews on your websites and things like that. What I'm starting to learn from customers, they love to hear what other people think. They don't just want to hear what you've got to say about your company. So those good reviews, highlight those on your website. Something we're starting to do on your website to where here's the reviews, here's what people have to say and that have worked with you before or had you work with them. That's huge and goes a long way.
And what you've got to do to get them is, number one, consistently ask for them. Let them know up front you're going to. And then when people give you reviews, reply to every one of them. Good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. If Squirt gives me a bad review, I get online immediately and say, look, I am really sorry that things went the way that you think they did. I would love to talk to you about this offline and find a way to make it right. Now, that's not an argument. But here's what somebody reading that review says is, wow, you know what? He's trying to fix this problem. So it makes you look like a rock star, even if you got a bad review. And if you fix things right, chances are you can ask them, will you go in and modify that review? They're the only ones that can do it. So I definitely think it's worth it.
Yes.
Now let's talk about work vehicles, because when it comes to cars, people are looking at how to save fuel, how to save stuff like that. And hybrid has become real big in cars.
I was gonna say, like, we've been talking a lot of EV, and I'm always kind of like, man, I haven't been able to go to EV myself because I like to go long distances sometimes. I like to drive to Austin and back for tacos in a day. Yes, I did that recently.
They're
But
damn good tacos.
that's right. It's a 4-hour drive almost, guys. I can't do that without killing some time to recharge a EV. Hybrid work trucks, guys. I could get behind this. Charge what you can overnight, use that, especially if you can get one of these electrical companies that are giving you free power at
Yep.
night. That crossed my mind just recently. Was like, oh, you could charge your EV vehicle at bedtime so that you're getting free charge for the night. Use that for your first 250 miles. And if it's a long day, hey, switch over because you're on a hybrid. That is something I feel like I could get behind a little more, a little quicker, because I could go the far distance still.
Well, and the cool thing is, you're driving around a big battery. I mean, you just plug into it. If you need power, you've got it.
Yep.
And little things like that. I mean, I love the fact that me and you, both of our trucks have electrical outlets in them.
Yes.
Now, we don't have electrical vehicles, but they've got inverters on them. So we can literally start our truck and run power tools. Now, I don't want to run a whole job like that on a day, but if I'm in a power truck that I'm going to charge up at night, it's like driving around in a battery and saying, here, plug in and do your job. That's not a bad deal. And with all the tax incentives,
Huge.
it's like the government's going to help you pay for your vehicles.
Like, I don't know many places that are giving you money to help you save money. Like, that's the best incentive I feel like there is. Starting to think about these things because, guys, I hate to say it, it's where it's headed in the future, but I really like the hybrid, and our new president wants to back
all behind it.
fuels.
You bet.
And I love that. That's why I really do like this hybrid thought, because then it's not just power, it's power and gas. That's going to cover both worlds either way, and it's going to help you save money in the big long picture. Hopefully they'll upkeep for a long time. Like that's the one thing we don't know yet.
And we had this question, I think it was last week, about companies that are trying to be more sustainable. And I'm like, look, number one, start with the easy stuff. Do you have the blue trash cans in your office? This is recyclable.
Yep.
If you don't, think about getting them. It's an easy investment. But here's the thing too. If you're driving hybrid vehicles, and I know it when I see them, when I stop behind them at red lights, it's like, man, I love that. They're thinking about the environment. So that is huge. So if you're looking to reduce operating cost and thinking sustainability, it's a great way to go. And Amber says, hybrid is the way to go. The self-charging vehicles are better than full electric. There's no pull on the electric grid either. And I like that because I've always wondered, I mean, I know how much I spend on gas. I filled up yesterday, it was $105. But I got a big truck and I got a big gas tank. But I've always wondered, when you charge a vehicle overnight, what's it cost you? Because you're still paying for the electricity. You're just spending the money a different way. And I get that, but definitely something worth looking at.
I'm gonna have to research that for us because that's got my
I know. And we've talked about
brain
it
thinking
before.
too. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna research that. So
Now let's get into roofing because we're talking social media and it's Tuesday and that's Roofer Day. What'd you find from Roofers Digest?
man, featured video: how to choose the best roofing underlayment for any climate. Now, one of the things that we talk about a lot of times is you're going to have to figure out what you need in which local area, depending on where you're located in this country, if you're a traveler, whatever the case is. A lot of roofers do typically travel to some different spaces too. But knowing what to put under those shingles in the right locations is huge. And they want to go through and spotlight it and talk about different climates. What do you need in the different areas? Things like that. And I don't know a whole lot about roofing. I know it's got multiple layers, things like that. I've watched so many different ones, mainly on commercial jobs in my world. I do remember the old residential, but my residential days were over 20 years ago, I feel like. So it's been a little while. But
And I love residential.
to go through and learn these different things about all the different trades, I love that. And to know that there's different types that meet different code requirements in different areas is huge. And just to go through and watch these videos to learn all the different aspects of your trade. That's what social media is out there for. It's not just fun and entertainment. It is, yes. And like that's what we try to do here is cover a little bit of both the educational and have fun with it. And that are some of the best videos that I feel like. But to get in there and learn something from each video you watch is huge. And I think if you're wanting to start social media, that's the key thing to think about is what do I want the person watching this to learn today? And then learn from this video. And this one, you know, how to choose the best roofing underlayment in any climate. That's going to cover everywhere, which is huge. Everybody's going to learn something from that.
And you know, plumbing wise, and I've never even thought about it for roofing, but I mean, plumbing wise, I know that the code is different in Dallas, Texas than it is Albany and New York. There's a different frost line. So, and even in Dallas and California, maybe not a different frost line, but they use ABS and we use PVC. So things are a little bit different around the country. I've never really thought about it from a roofing point of view is hey, look, what underlayment do you need based on where you're at? And a lot of places are wetter. A lot of places are colder. A lot of places are hotter. So it only makes sense that, you know, depending on where you're at and what your even humidity levels like, it makes perfect sense to say this may not be the right thing.
That's it. It's like thinking insulation, you know, 'cause, like there's going to be different thicknesses or different requirements. Same type of thing, different barriers, different water barriers, different thicknesses based on the locations. And that's huge.
And I love the fact that Roofers Digest is doing what we do. They're doing what we did starting out. Literally, it was how can we use social media to educate our clients? How can we use social media to help grow a plumbing company? So to me, it really it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. I'm talking trades right now, but seriously, short videos to draw people's attention, to teach them a quick tip or something like that's huge. Long form video, if you've got something you really want to show them how to do something, I think that's huge. But informative videos and explaining the quality of the products that you use. People ask me all the time, you know, why do you use the best equipment? Well, I want the best. And that's based on me. I got a Chevy truck. I don't have the littlest, ugliest Chevy truck in town. I walked in and said, see that big black one over there? That's the one I want. But I know what I want. That's what I try to promote to my customers because I think it's the best.
Yeah. And if you're just a worker for a company, you don't have to do social media to promote your company and get your phone to ring. Use it to promote you and who you are as a worker. If you've got bigger aspirations to move to a different company someday, start putting yourself out there on social media and showing off your work. Show them what you're made of. Show them what you're proud of. Because coming from the trades, there's definitely plenty of things that I would have videoed showing off what I could do.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And let me tell you, running into people, it would be like, hey, check this out. Look what I did last week. You know,
Man, we hired a guy, came over from the Middle East somewhere, Ali.
Yeah.
And he'd come over. He's like, let me show you this leak I found. And he's looking at it. He's like, this is so small. He said, look, do you see how little the bubbles are? He said, watch it. And it'd make one bubble every 30, 45 seconds. And he's like, now that is small, but I found it and I fixed it. and you know, the tradesmen take so much pride in their work. It is just, it's amazing.
Yes.
So, you know, learn to look at social media and what you do. And I like the idea of promoting your company because my thing is, if you're promoting that company, when people call that company and say, hey, I need a plumber to come out. By the way, can you send Henry?
Yep.
I like his attitude. Or I think he's
feel
ugly.
like I know
you
him.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I want to hug him. Whatever it is, stuff like that can be big.
That's it.
So let's talk about the best questions because yesterday.
Yes. So we had one in, and I want to ask you this because I know that you have expanded. What's the most common mistake when you are expanding a service area?
Not putting a lot of thought into it. It takes a lot of preparation. You know, the reason I named my company Texas Green Plumbing is I wanted to expand first from Dallas to Fort Worth. Logistics, easy to do. Then I wanted to do Austin and San Antonio because they're so close, like Dallas and Fort Worth. Maybe a little further, I get that. Then I wanted to do Houston because my thought was, as big as Houston is, if I can get it right in Dallas, Fort Worth, if I can get it right in Austin, San Antonio, Houston should be easy. And literally, even between Austin and San Antonio, we had mapped it out knowing if I keep my plumbers in like a 30-mile area, logistics wise, we know where to market and advertise. But also, I don't want them running from Austin to San Antonio, back to Austin, back to San Antonio. That's half a day right there just driving. So it's like, look, let's figure this thing out. But overextending without proper planning or resources, I mean, you've got to have more vehicles. You may need a warehouse. You may need different things. But overextending without doing stuff like that can be big. So now I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
How can I improve ladder safety on my job sites?
Use the right ladder. Don't bring the wrong ladder to a job site. If it's a 20-foot high building, a 6-foot ladder is not going to do you much good on
Can't
that
you
job.
stand on top of a 12
you know
and
that.
jump?
You can if you're a basketball player.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
I don't know many basketball players
it's
that
not
work the
gonna be
trades
good.
every
It's not
day,
gonna be a
but
good thing.
maybe. But you want to use the right ladder and inspect it regularly for wear and tear. You left that ladder on the job. Did you chain it up? If you didn't,
And it's not there anymore?
some teenager could have come across the job site the night before and tore your ladder up without you knowing and messed a rung up. And then you start up that thing and the legs split apart. You never know what goes on while you're not on that job. So inspect it, take a quick look, make sure everything is just the way you left it the day before. That's going to be a huge one because you don't know what goes on.
And ladder safety, guys, is something you want to take serious each and every day.
Yeah. So what is the best strategy to retain top talent in the trades?
Well, number one, we all want to grow. It's funny. Tony Robbins talks about people want to see progress in their life. And unfortunately, most people that get in the trades, that's what we don't see. We quit studying, we quit learning, we quit growing. And I know this because I did the same thing. Once I got my license, it's like, look, I'm a plumber. Just let me go plumb. I didn't want to learn anything. I just wanted to get in there and do my job. But once I started learning, I started growing. And the more I learned, the more I grew and the more money I made and the better opportunities I got. I remember Ronnie Schreiber talking to me one day. I was in the office and he said, hey, come here a minute. And we're sitting there talking. And he said, you're one of 5 superintendents I have that can run $20 million jobs. And I'm like, well, that's why I charge you so much money to work here. But I mean, it was a good thing. So knowing that you've got growth opportunities, but then you've got to have competitive benefits. And it's not always just money. It can be learning. It can be education. Like I told you, the last company that I was part owner of, we spent $10,000 a year on each employee in education. That adds up. But the employees are learning new things, and that makes them want to hang around. That is huge.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So this video is sponsored by Leak Pro. And Leak Pro is the most precise leak detection equipment for plumbers. Guys, I still remember the day that I met Terry. It was in San Diego. We were at an Ace Hardware, and he had a Jeep with the Leak Pro box on the back, pulled the gear out of the inside. He opened this little box that had his compressor, his hose reel, had everything in it. It's amazing. But here's the thing. I put it on, and I'm touching it, and I'm playing with it. And I'm like, this is amazing. I got back home, ended up ordering one. But I told him that day, I said, look, I want your company. Because the day I met him, he said, I just left a friend's funeral. I'm the last one. I could die tomorrow. And I'm like, look, I don't want this process to die with you. So we found out how to acquire the company, and we did. Randy lived in California for about 2 months, learning how to build it, how to do the training, how to do all that. We came back here, built a training center, and I think the training behind it is what makes all the difference in the world. We don't just teach you how to use this equipment. We teach you how to find sewer leaks under slabs. We teach you how to market your company for leak detection, for plumbing, for whatever it is. We teach you to do everything. And if you want to learn more about it, go to Leak Pro at www.leak-pro.com for, like I said, the most precise leak detection equipment system that there is for plumbers. We've upgraded the equipment, we've upgraded the case, and we've upgraded the training center. So I'm telling you, this can make a difference to you as a plumber or you as a plumbing company owner to your bottom line. So thank you for being here today. TikTok, Instagram, thank y'all very much. Guys, thank y'all. We do this every day at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. That way, everybody, every tradesman can hear it at lunchtime. And if you like this, give us a thumbs up, share it with somebody in the trades that you know, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on anything.
That's it. Thank you for showing, and I hope to see you here tomorrow.
All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see y'all tomorrow.